But look, just be as marvellous as you always are.
All the things that we were ashamed of in the good old days are all taken out now and dusted down. They're now sexy. Guys who used to go to Irish dancing classes can now all come out of the closet.
It puts Ireland on the map as the sexiest country in Europe.
I saw Michael Flatley dance in the Mayo 5000. Bill and John were doing a concert together, Mayo, to celebrate the Cage of Fields. And John rang Paddy Glacken and said, do you know any good Irish dancers? And Paddy Glacken said, I know this great guy who dances with the Chieftains. And there's this red-headed young one as well who dances with the Chieftains. So they both came over, both Jean and Michael, separately to dance that night. I had met him a few days before that and went along that night to see him. He really was the most exciting, innovative Irish dancer that I'd ever seen. And strangely enough, also that night, Jean Butler was performing. I mean, I was completely taken by her powerful dancing and her really fantastic beauty. And I just looked at both of them separately. They didn't dance together that night, but I looked at both of them separately and thought, really, to put them together could be quite a magical partnership.
Yeah, I suppose if there's any one night that can be looked at when Riverdance, or the germ of Riverdance came or appeared first, I think it was probably at the performance of The Spirit of Mayo at the Mayo 5000. After that night, Moya said, you know, I have to have these people on the centrepiece of Eurovision. And I think it was, if you like, somehow or other, all the elements that have become involved in Riverdance was visible that night. And I think finally it was when Moya sort of pulled the whole lot together and looked back to that night that gave her the idea to bring all these people together for Riverdance.
I then got a call from Liam Miller about middle summer of '93 to produce the Eurovision. It was on a Friday, and I said I didn't really know that I wanted to do it because, in fact, I'd never really watched the Eurovision. I never cared much for it, and I thought, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of pressure, and really is there very much you can do with it at the end of the day? So I put the phone down, thought about it for a while, rang him back and said yes on the Monday. I rang Michael in Beverly Hills at the time and said, I'd love you to be available to perform in the centrepiece of the Eurovision Song Contest. He was delighted, he said yes immediately. I tracked down Jean Butler. She was delighted, said she was available in April. And then my next call, really important call, was to the composer, Bill Whelan, and really the rest is history.
Ladies and gentlemen, Riverdance.
just wanted rows and rows and rows of hard shoe dancers. As a child, I'd always wanted, I was a lousy dancer. My mother was an Irish dance teacher and I could never keep up with anything. So I think I just really always had a passion for hard shoe dance.
Are on their feet for Michael Flatley, a native of Chicago but of Irish heritage. Jean Butler, born in New York, again of Irish heritage. Two brilliant dancers.
There was such an enormous reaction to that 7 minutes of television that it had to be satisfied. And both creatively from our point of view and commercially, there was something to be done with that. There was, based on the sales of the single, based on the sales of the video, there was an enormous appetite, and there was nothing for people to see other than, at the moment, this 7 minutes. And there were a number of things to do. There were extend that 7 minutes to an Irish show, but we felt that it had the potential to be a world show.
You might get her to give me a ring. It's Moya, yeah. How you doing? We weren't quite sure where we were taking the show, and there was a certain sense of urgency. Oh, let's get the show up on the point in November, and this was May. And I just said, hold on a minute, what is the show? So I just got concerned, and I thought the most important thing to do is to get some development money, to spend time thinking about the show, and then let's put the business plan in place a little bit later. So Paul McGuinness and Liam Miller from RTE both gave development money towards it. Let me know, have a think about that and just get back and maybe talk to me about it before the day is out. I think the biggest challenge then at that point for all of us was to turn what was a fantastic 7 minutes into a 2-hour show. So I think Bill Whelan, John McColgan and myself put our heads together around the table. Michael was auditioning Irish dancers at the time, and we really worked out what the shape, form, concept, mood of the 2-hour piece was going to be.
Riverdance itself. And I think actually, Maria will bring something to it, not only just with the talent of her dancing, but also just her personality. She has that kind of warmth, which in a company context is very important.
Sure.
Yeah.
We got loads of tapes in because we've been on a trawl from all over Europe, and we've got, I'd say, 20 or 30 tapes of folk dance from all over Eastern Europe. We did yesterday got a tape in from a Mossiev dance company in Russia, and I think there's something going on here. I think it's fantastic.
I'll tell you what's particularly special is that they come from the folk tradition, but they're classically trained. So they're actually doing something different with the folk tradition, but they're very much rooted in it.
Well, going back to the idea of having the early stuff, a celebration of kind of the Irish culture, I'm working on a piece called Cuina Cuchulainn, which is a lament, which I think Davy would play brilliantly on the pipes.
There is a line that we've drawn, a very fine line, which we mustn't cross, which is, our desire to have integrity, to be culturally have integrity, but yet to have that contemporary Broadway pizzazzy feel, but just to all the time be
connected,
and just be aware that we don't go too far in the other direction.
Which one are you? Marcel, hello, I'm Jerry.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? And you?
I'm fine.
How are you? Very good, you're very welcome.
Hi, Dublin. Glad to be here.
Jerry, Maria, very welcome. Very welcome.
Ciao.
2, 3 twists, or we can go into the back piece.
I think we should try and do something back.
Some back. Oh, this piece, yeah.
I face the studio. I go in there, it's cold, and that sound of tapping that sometimes just penetrates your whole being day after day after day. And it seems like days would go by where it's just hard work and it just never seems to end. It's just morning to night.
5, 6, 7, 8.
But all of a sudden, something will happen, and when it starts to flow, don't ask me where it comes from. It's not from me, it's from some greater source. But when it does start to flow, things come to me that I can just feel one thing leading to another, and that's how I think the really good stuff comes. It's when you don't give up. It's after days and days, when you think there's no more left. That's when it really comes. One of the things that inspires me most in this whole venture is being able to work with the Irish dance troupe that we have here. There's no question they are the greatest dance troupe in the world, and I would put them out there with any other dance troupe from any form of dance, anywhere.
We knew Michael Flatley was a brilliant Irish dancer, but we've also discovered he's a great choreographer. Mavis Ascot had been the choreographer on the original Eurovision Riverdance, but Michael is doing fantastic work with the Irish troupe. He's a hard worker, very focused.
What I'd say Michael and myself do is choose what we like to do best, what movements we like to do best, and obviously there's an element of what looks best on stage. So after a few tricks, you might say, you put in what's easy, so you have rest periods, and then you have your tricks, and then you have a balance, an equal balance. We're basically at the moment trusting each other and letting it go to the last minute, because that's what we have to do at the moment. But because we're both very confident in our own performances, when we do work together, it just happens quite quickly.
Let's try that.
With regard to the various styles that are in Riverdance, well then obviously traditional music is a major source of my own inspiration. I always find that writing pieces it grows like coral, you get a central idea and then bits grow out from that. What I'm trying to do in Riverdance, the show, is to have as much rhythmic interest in the music as possible so that the dancers will be stimulated by the rhythms that they hear.
Michael Flatley. Good to meet you. How you doing?
Welcome. Nobody speaks English.
No, he speaks a little bit.
Good. Oh yeah, grand.
All settled now?
Yeah.
You look like you had a week off.
No, I had a day off. A day in bed. I slept the entire day.
We'll see when the monitor situation is like.
Yeah, but you see, we won't hear it then.
Yeah.
Anything.
Commence the air. I actually just authorize the air, that's all I do.
The plan is Davy, then there's 4 bars of rhythm, and then there's 4 bars of Nicola, then it's Maura and Martin. It goes A, B, B. You're in on the second, on the B.
One of the worries about Riverdance is that when you bring what is essentially, I guess, a collection of individual soloists together, you run the risks of that one could imagine from any kind of collection of soloists. How will they play in ensemble, and how will they relate to each other? They have to feel challenged. So you're really challenged to kind of come up with something that will make them feel that they can play for 30 nights without getting, in any way distracted, shall we say.
It is a very, very expensive show to mount. In this instance, I'm much more conscious of getting it right and of spending money on it. I nearly lost it several times because people whom I thought would invest didn't. It just wasn't working out. And the positioning of AIB's logo. Ultimately, we got the sponsorship on board from AIB, which was a terrific help. RTE Music Limited came in behind it, as did Principal Management, as did Morris Cassidy and Tommy Higgins. Now, even with all of that, there was still a shortfall of 70% of the total budget of the show, which myself and John, who's a partner now, had to take the personal risk on. And I had several sleepless nights. I was due to go on holidays this summer with my parents. We were going to do a house swap. And I said to my father, we'll do it, we'll swap houses. He said, yeah, if you have a house to swap. So I thought, Jesus, I could lose my house.
I began writing the score for Riverdance in early October of 1994 and completed this score substantially by early December. It was about a 10-hour day every day, 10 to 12 hours. And then I relocated to Windmill Lane to record the album and also the soundtrack. So Windmill began in early December and we ran until the middle of January. Every day, including St. Stephen's Day. I think we had Christmas Day off and that was it. Again, there were long days, probably starting at 10 in the morning and going till at least 2 or 3 in the morning. But funnily, you're just driven along by the fact of having to have the work done by a certain time.
That's better. Okay, Bill?
Excellent, thanks for that.
Feel the magic and power of surrender to Ishka.
The whole approach to choral singing with the gospel choir is quite different to Anuna's. And the swapping of the lines in the opening song of Riverdance between Tracy from the gospel choir and Katie from Anuna was really interesting to see happen, and I think it somehow works.
I'm the wrong words. What?
Mirrors, my Colin.
Bloody.
The hardest thing for me is lyric writing. It is the bit that I agonize most on. The music, generally, once you get a basic idea, it flows kind of naturally.
Yeah. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3. She's not even looking.
You're going off there. Can you come on from there?
We try it again. We try. You do it. Dum ba dum, dum ba dum, dum ba dum, ba ba turn, turn, ba ah. Look at the girls. Run, run, run. Jump off.
Applause, applause, applause. Take your bows, bows, bows. We'll just go and see how we go. We'll just play the tape. haven't talked to you about is where you come into Maria.
Right.
On Seville, our second piece.
And where I come in on
Second, yeah.
both of those. I know when, I just don't know exactly how to get there.
Yeah,
So
I know.
But that's last
I
second
just
step.
said, once putting you up on the step up there for the tap guys, you just you sneak on, not be seen, and a light will hit you, and you listen and you pick it up, and you do whatever you decide to do, just a pattern of hers, and then we kill the light on you.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, we can.
Yeah, the first time the entire cast, Michael, Jean and all the international artists came together to rehearse and run the complete show to Bill Whelan's marvellous music was an extraordinary day. Prior to this, everybody had been rehearsing separately, and as they watched each other rehearse and integrate, the feeling that something really special was happening was palpable.
Oh yeah, it gives you a great feel, doesn't it? Yeah. So far so good? So far so good, guys. We'll be by midweek we'll be dangerous.
Which one is this for?
This is for
Is it the harbour?
Harbour of the New World.
This is just for that dance through while Anya's singing, yeah.
I kind of like that, Jean, though. Because we
I
could
think
go
that
through
helps.
there.
That helps. Like that's going to
That's
work.
the business, isn't it?
I think it's very Celtic looking.
Oh, good. I need налепить их потом.
See, the buckle goes on like so.
Understand.
You want buckle on them?
Yes. Да, только вот они вот это делают и вот это пришьют ремень. Нет, ну это на ноге более-менее.
Не, ну это же то же самое, что это, только...
Killer pants, where did you get them?
Right.
Off Elvis.
I don't think Elvis would wear these.
What are we doing with the boys on Distant Thunder?
Oh, we're not going to use them friggin' fluorescent shirts, are we?
No.
Sorry.
The majority vote is no.
Sorry, no. All right, that looks all right. I think without the vest, I don't need this vest.
Okay, so you'd wear that shirt with those trousers?
It's all right?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that'll work.
Perfect.
Done.
But you see what I mean? You and Joan are the most important people because you're holding it that way. You know what I'm saying? Go into the circle.
Work out what it is for the first run. Divide that up exactly the same way as he has divided it up. And then tell him we pay him the final week as a separate payment on the final week.
If we flick backwards from the first preview on the Monday, just try and get a rough idea of what you're hoping to achieve.
So any chance we could get them today? We'll know that by the end of the day, will we? Yeah. Great, thanks very much. Thanks, Anne, that's great.
Sound ready, lights ready, to have
So let them warm
a
up,
half hour
then
of
go on
notes,
yeah.
and then they have an hour before the show goes up.
Tell me how this feels. Now to press on this, tell me, in that spot there, not sore.
No. That's...
So it's very specifically the second toe, the base of it. Okay, well, it's critical we get this test done because if we have a stress fracture, we're in trouble. And it's big trouble. Anyway, so we'll wait and see about that. Come on, round the back.
What is the story? I'm concerned, Jean, in terms of the fact that I think we should go to the matter and have what the doctor recommends done.
Well, he just wants, like, he was there today and he wants me to go for a bone scan. Now, he penciled me in for 10 o'clock this morning. Dancing with pain is not a problem, but just like the fact that you have to lay off it now is quite aggravating.
We all have a responsibility to make sure that you're not dancing on something that's broken or fractured.
Stressed.
I mean, you don't want to do it, and nobody wants to sit up the matter for 3 hours. It was all very surreal, really, leading up to the opening night on the Point. I mean, it was like some sort of an outer body experience because everything was moving so fast. The scale of the show was enormous. There were 100 performers in it. We were going to run for 21 days. Everybody was moving so swiftly that really, while it was really exciting, it was incredible because I'd never done anything like that before. None of us had ever been involved in anything like that before. So, I mean, the most important thing for us at the time was that it had to work.
We spread out and move down this way a little bit.
Don't be afraid, man. Don't be afraid, man. Don't be afraid of timber.
Okay, so look in there, don't blink, look at
In the area that we're interested in, there is no evidence of increased uptake, which means you do not have a stress fracture.
Oh, good stuff. Good.
Moya Doherty and John McColgan told me that they wanted hand-painted images on the background, not computer images or mechanical images, and I found that rather gratifying. The only daunting thing is that, a brush stroke that is microscopic in a painting, when it's enlarged up to that large scale, will become like, the end of your finger. But nevertheless, I think people, when they see these images, will realise that they're hand-painted images.
Those colours are nice. What I've said that I don't want is, I don't want mint green, and I don't want pinks, and I don't want a lot of moving blues. I want deep blues and midnight blues and rich rich reds, rich fields. And I don't want to see any mint green.
Des! The early rehearsals in the Point were, of course, rather fraught affairs because it's a very different discipline. When you're working in the studio, it's a kind of a controlled atmosphere rather like a glass house. But in the live venue, it becomes something quite different. And also the looming knowledge that you're opening on February the 4th, as we were, whatever it was, it suddenly became quite frenetic, and I think everyone started to fray at the edges a bit. Willie Mannion, I can't hear you on this gazebo.
Well, I think we should do those critical things first.
Ultimately, you're driven along by kind of an adrenaline of knowing that you have to do it, and we all got on very well. Everyone had worked together before, and there was a good bit of crack, but underneath it all, there was a kind of a panic.
Everybody back on stage, please, for that exit. We just need to do it one more time. Let's walk it. Everybody back on quickly as possible.
I think it's okay if they hit it on the mark. They were unsure when they're entering.
Do you want to run it again?
I wouldn't mind it.
Because it's two different.
They're hearing two different things.
You understand? Something one, or phonogram or orchestra. They play in a different tempo.
So just let's do the playoff, please. Cue the playoff. It's almost there. A bad dress rehearsal is a good show, so I hope so. We're having a bad dress rehearsal. just wait till the troop are just about off before ye go, okay? I know there are a number of things you want to run, Michael, and we'll want to look at a couple of things. So people take 5. There were a few problems to do with queuing. Was there one of the guys missing on Distant Thunder? Yeah. The Irish female dancers on Reel Around the Sun need to just watch that. The V, it was a bit ragged as well. So just need to keep an eye on your positions. If that's the entrance, once you're here, you're on, you're working. I mean, you can't stand and wait to come on, and everything isn't as it might be, but that is just rehearsal. I think it's people were giving 70%, 80%, and on the night, that again will come up.
She's so tore out. Well, it's still an hour to go.
So everybody's in good shape. We've done as much rehearsing as we can. The dress rehearsal didn't go well, but they say that's a good sign. I hope so. The run the day before went better with a few problems, but we've sort of tidied them up. Everyone's a bit apprehensive, but if they weren't, it wouldn't be good. Everyone's a bit nervous, but everybody's also feeling confident. I am, I think.
Well, I think I prefer to be dancing at this moment.
It's probably as short as your ex-Black Riverdance.
Yeah.
Thanks, Maya. Great, yeah. We're here now.
You relax. Put up a do not disturb sign on your door. Will I put one up for you?
I think there's one up.
Can you do one of those?
Oh yeah. How are y'all feeling?
Very good.
How are you?
Thanks, John. Good luck, good luck, good luck. Just be as marvellous as you always are.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for all the hard work.
God bless you, God bless you. That's all. Just one more talk. Mind yourself and enjoy yourself.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, some sushi, raw fish, and...
Do you get nervous?
Fabulous. No, I can't wait to go.
Bonne chance.
Merci.
How much time we got? Are we on call?
I think we've got about 5 minutes. So.
Let's go do it. Great, guys. Michael. Thanks, Michael. See you, buddy. Okay, guys. Thanks. Thanks, Michael.
Kill me.
All right.
It's difficult to find words to describe it. It's superb. It's like nothing else I've ever seen. The speed, the timing, the coordination, the whole thing is just absolutely fantastic.
It was absolutely dazzling. The combination of the dancing, the music and the light took my breath and my sight away.
I think it's a glorious production. I think it's an absolutely wonderful experience, and I think it's about the best export since Europa. Marvellous.
In this business, there's not an awful lot that's new anymore. It's just really, a compilation of what's been before. But this is new, it's different, it's exciting, and I personally think it'll go worldwide. I mean, this may have its roots in Ireland and in traditional music and traditional dance, but this is worldwide.
So I thought the whole thing was marvellous. And I see it on Broadway.
Well, it's joy and relief. It's been a long time coming together, and You know, a lot of hard work from everybody, and it's great to see it on its feet. And I think we're afloat tonight.
Everything came together tonight. The previews were good but ragged. Tonight was the first night it all came together, and I think all the hard work and effort from everybody was worthwhile. It's fantastic. I'm delighted. Everybody seems to be delighted, so I'm thrilled to relax now and enjoy ourselves. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well done.
Nobody now remembers the winning Eurovision song, but no one who's seen it will ever forget that exhilarating interval performance. Such was its success that it's now been developed into a full stage show, composed by Bill Whelan, featuring 24 Irish dancers, Jean Butler, Michael Flatley, and Anuna. Please welcome Riverdance.
Promoters from all over the world were coming to Dublin to meet with us to discuss bringing the show out. But firstly, my sights were very firmly placed on London.
I would like to go on sale within the next 3 or 4 weeks as soon as we can get ourselves geared up. And I think from a promotion point of view, we already have Eurovision, that people have seen the show. They've seen the show now on Raw Variety Show. And I think if we get the people over and just do 1 or 2 more TVs with the press that's going to follow up, I'm very confident it's going to just go, wow.
It's a difficult one to decide between the venues because they all have pros and cons. What is your view?
Well, I think there are the pros and cons. Wembley's possibly too big, the Albert Hall, lovely atmosphere. But the problem with both those buildings is getting availability, whereas I do know that Hammersmith, we can get the availability we want.
The most attractive facility is obviously Royal Albert Hall, but Royal Albert Hall is going to be always patchy as far as availability is concerned. And if you put a show in there and you equip it for in there, and you end up, which we believe you're going to end up, with an extended run, you're going to have to expend another large amount of money and find your way to a theatre. So taking everything into consideration, Hammersmith, provided the investment that Paul Gregg has suggested that he's going to make in the theatre to make it more attractive to us, the provision of the extra dressing rooms and showers and so on, it's the one place that we can sit down and run, and it has the capacity to take the money.
Hammersmith may not have the glamour of a West End premiere, but make no mistake, Riverdance is causing such a stir that first-night celebrities would even have travelled to Wigan to see the show. Well, maybe not Wigan, but certainly anywhere within zones 1, 2 and 3 of the London Underground. They call this the hottest ticket in town. Originally here in Hammersmith for just 10 nights, it was extended for a fortnight, but it's still sold out until June the 24th. Now they've added another 5 nights, but hurry, because those tickets are selling fast. Riverdance took over the Natural History Museum after the show for a memorable night of Guinness, champagne and tributes.
It's good music, it's good singing, it's good dancing, and none of it was mine, but it's all brilliant performance. Go see it, great.
There was a standing ovation from, you know, the stalls up to the circles. It was just thrilling, and it was magic.
I think it's stunning. If the lead guy sings as well, I think we're in trouble. It's a brilliant evening.
What we're doing is selling a lot of goodwill, a lot of high energy, and we love what we're doing. The best thing about our show is that all of us would do it for nothing without any audience there. And I think when you have a show like that, it'll live for a while.
Undoubtedly, the most difficult time in the history of Riverdance, the show to date, was just prior to our return to London for the second time. We entered into protracted negotiations with Michael Flatley for his contract to return to London. The negotiations became very difficult, very painful, torturous, long, and it eventually, as the opening date grew closer and closer and closer, it became possibly clear that we had a very difficult decision to take.
Are you leaving Riverdance? Is this true?
No. I'm just in contract negotiations right now, and in fact, I was on till the wee hours of the morning. Started again this morning when I first got up. So things are looking real good right now.
So you can reveal here exclusively on The Big Breakfast that you will still be with Riverdance?
Yeah, if everything works out by the end of the day, I think I'll have a contract, and it's looking real good. I just can't wait to dance.
Well, I got a phone call from Maya Doherty late one evening. I think it was a Thursday evening of the week prior to the opening. And Maya said, would I please use my good offices to try and pull this out of the fire? Of course, I was happy to do so. I then spoke to Michael Flatley for hours and hours and hours, backwards and forwards. And I finally put the phone down, probably 3 a.m., when as far as I was concerned, he'd agreed the deal, all the points had gone through. And I was in shock to find that after a few hours sleep at 6 a.m., his manager called me to say, we're on our way to the TV studios, and unless you agree to this, this, and this, we're going to go public on TV, and started all the negotiations all over again. I was absolutely horrified.
If you were to leave, do you think there's anybody that could actually step into your shoes, as it were?
I doubt it. I don't even want to think about that, to tell you the truth. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm the one who sort of started the show, and we have a great team. There's just no way it's going to break up now, I know it.
At this stage, it has to be put into context that we were 2 days before a major opening in London, and we didn't have an agreement in place with our co-star, our principal dancer, one of our principal dancers. Our back was really up against the wall, and we weren't getting any further down the road with the contract. And there were many issues unresolved at that stage. There were issues to do with money. There were issues to do with the future of the show. But I think the primary issue, which emerged very late in the negotiations, was the issue of complete creative control. Now, we had responsibilities to promoters, to investors, to the rest of the cast, to myself as a producer. And it came from nowhere. It hadn't been sought in the past. And it was something that we really all felt very strongly that we couldn't concede on.
What's the problem been, though? Because, I mean, it is kind of very last minute. The show opens on Tuesday, so it's a bit last minute to be signing the contract now, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, but there's an awful lot of things involved in such a big show like this. You'd be surprised the number of things that have to be taken into consideration. And it doesn't all get done on time or according to plan. And particularly my contract would have an awful lot more in it than most of the other performers in the show. And most of what I was concerned about was the creative control over the dances that I created and things like that. But I understand now that everything is going to be fine that way, and I just can't wait to dance.
So it's not just about money?
No, it's nothing to do with money. That was agreed a long time ago.
Welcome back. Now, it's the big showbiz news of the day. With just hours to go before the opening night of Riverdance, the show's star, Michael Flatley, is out after failing to agree terms with the producers.
At the 11th hour, I think Michael misread the situation, and at the 11th hour, after us appealing through intermediaries, going, I think 2 days before we opened, Michael still hadn't signed the contract, and eventually we had to, and with deep regret and an enormous amount of trauma for everybody involved, went forward without him.
What's happened? What's gone wrong over the weekend?
I created many of the numbers that the show was built around, and I would just like that if those numbers would go on the way that they were always performed, and that somebody would, that they would allow me to have creative control over my own dances and my own solos and my own work. I think that's not unfair.
So you wanted a say in the show as to how things were done, really?
I just wanted control over the work that I had created myself, that's all. I don't think that that's too much to ask.
We were confident that we had done absolutely everything within our power to make Michael happy, and the final demands for any producers, for anybody producing a show, to give complete artistic control to a member of the cast, albeit the lead in the show. It would be impossible to go forward.
Despite suggestions it was going to be virtually impossible to replace Michael Flatley, the impossible has been achieved, and tonight his stand-in, Colin Dunne, takes centre stage here at the Riverdance. His qualifications for doing so are pretty impressive. 9 times world dance champion.
I felt that, you know, if it was to work for me and if I was to be happy, like taking over, I guess, from where Michael had taken off, that it was important for me to put a bit of my own style and my own personality into the pieces that Michael had previously done, rather than trying to emulate what he had done and in the way that he did it, because we're both very different dancers and very individual and have different styles.
Michael leaving the show affected me enormously, in the sense that, you know, I felt I was losing, you know, a right hand, you know, a steady, you're grounding in the show. And I don't think Michael thought about that. I think Michael just thought about himself in the show and didn't realize that, you know, there were other people being affected by his choice to leave the show, other than the troupe and other than the producers and the promoters and everything else. But specifically myself, who obviously was always next to him on stage. The thing about Colin is that since age probably 14, 15, I've been a huge admirer of his work, because I know him from the World Championships. And as far as I was concerned, I mean, I'd only met Michael twice before we actually danced together, but Colin is, and probably still is, I think, the best Irish dancer on the face of the earth. Dancing with him is completely different to Michael. There's more of a unity, I believe, a joint effort. And I think Colin in the show is just incredible.
It's a memory of 35 years of being in this business I'll never forget. Probably an hour or so before showtime, I was backstage, and obviously knowing Flatley's not in it, there was certain tension and stress and everything. And then I saw Jean Butler, and she was on crutches, so I thought, this is a very bad joke. So I went up to her and said, Jean, you know, come on, this is not funny. To which she then burst into tears, and I realized, my God, this is genuine. I have to admit, a few minutes later, I burst into tears.
It was the most difficult, distressing day of my life, and actually one of the saddest, because, I mean, I admire Michael's talent enormously, have done and will do. He's a great talent, he's a great performer. We had worked well together. It was not something that I would have wanted to have happened. We were on that day, we had to go forward, the decision had to be taken, and I had a deep-rooted belief in the show and in the strength of the performers, in the strength of the music, and I knew really that we had to go forward and that the show would stand on its own.
It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The best show I've ever seen.
I could watch it all day, every day. It's fantastic.
I think it was brilliant. I'd like to see it again. An incredible celebration of dance. It's quite wonderful.
It's indescribable. You can't put words to it, can you? It's just something that goes down to your boots.
Well, what's turned out to be the case is that the show is the star. Obviously, it has design elements and it has wonderful music and wonderful singing, wonderful performances by the musicians, wonderful dancing. It's an enormous piece. I think the company is now 80 or 90 people on stage. It has huge production values, but it also seems to me to have caught the mood of Ireland at the moment, where a rediscovery of kind of confidence and cultural confidence particularly seems to have been taking place in this country in the last decade. And I think Riverdance caught that moment and expressed it creatively.
Everybody, thank you very much. Today is the last day of rehearsal before we go to New York, and as you probably know, the show is completely booked out. Apart from being completely booked out, our office is inundated. The phones are going all day from 7, 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night with people looking for tickets, and they can't get any. So everything you need to know is in here so far, and then you'll be briefed when you get there. So we just have to go to New York and knock them dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New York, where the local time is now 25 minutes past 3. Oh my God!
Our next guests are a
hugely successful Irish dance company, and tonight they are making their network television debut with us. We couldn't be happier. They will also be appearing at New York's Radio City Music Hall from March 13th through St. Patrick's Day. Do me a favor, please welcome Riverdance.
No, I don't think so. I think we're on the wrong floor.
Should have went to stage right, not just press stage entry.
I think we're on the wrong floor, yes.
Wow! It's like a football stick.
Stunning, isn't it? It's just to be in this business, to understand here, you kind of go, don't you? Isn't this fantastic? I've always wanted to shout at you through one of these. It's fantastic. You will obey me. You will understand. You're now standing on the stage of the most famous theatre in the world, Radio City Music Hall, New York. And, Hammersmith Odeon was a big theatre, so you're used to playing in a big space. I think for everybody to remember the size and scale of this theatre, that for dancers and singers and for everybody to remember that there are almost 6,000 people out there, and if you look up, you see how far you have to deliver your performance. So all the moves, all the turns have to be, if you can, 10% bigger than you normally would. Everybody, the head turns, kicks, everything is sharp and as big and exaggerated. But I think it's a great achievement for all of us and a great privilege and an honor to be playing here this week. So I'm excited. And so before we start rehearsal, I just wanted to get the feel of the magic of this hall.
We're really excited, actually. Yeah, I think it's just fantastic. This is the first time, because this time last year we closed in the Point. So just to stand here a year later, it's overwhelmingly exciting.
Kill that, 273.
It's a fight, boy.
Good.
Watch.
5, 6, 7, 8. Before the altar here, one of us cannot do Irish dances. That's because I brought the wrong shoes.
I think it's going to be great. Opening night is going to be fab. A lot of people say that they feel uplifted when they've seen Riverdance, and that's, I think, what we were aiming for. Thank you.
This is us writing out the violation to Radio City.
No violations.
I have the designers screaming at me that we have to have a sign on the star.
Then it's Audie. You sent me paint down for the stairs for Riverdance, or someone did. It's not the right color. I have a designer who's not very happy with it.
Well, it's just incredible. It's amazing to be here in the Big Apple, in perhaps one of the greatest stages in the world at Radio City Music Hall with our own Riverdance. It's just a major moment.
I mean, we have to figure out which is the worst problem. If the biggest problem are the ridges in the elevator, I think that's the easiest thing to
No, I
get
don't
rid
think the
of.
biggest problem is the hardness of the floor.
But there's also the issue of the fact that the floor is uneven and there are ridges.
Absolutely.
And I think that is
Yes.
a responsibility that should not be ours, but should be yours to sort out. In that if we bring a dance show, an even floor with no ridges is what we expect for our dancers.
I mean, if I was doing this at home, I'd get some builder I knew to lash it up for me and just be ready at 8 in the morning.
We can't screw plywood all over our entire deck. It would ruin our deck.
I'd have to put some screws in, hold it in certain spots.
How is it for Maria?
She hates it.
She hates it.
But
It's not going to go away, but it's certainly going to get better.
Yeah, right, but it's not going to go away.
No, it's absolutely not going to go away, but it will get better, guaranteed.
maybe we're in the wrong hall.
Should we have gone to the Paramount?
Is there any other hall in this town?
Well, when you hit the floor doesn't bounce, it's just solid, so therefore your foot just dies on it.
But talking to the crew downstairs, they said that the stage is made out of 5 inches of wood on top of a plate of inch steel.
I'll give it to them.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just a few things today. Let's talk about the floor. There's a lot of talk about the floor. We spent a lot of time talking about the floor before we came in here. We were here until midnight last night. The floor is hard. What we have to say is we are as concerned as you are, and it is hard. It is difficult, and there is nothing we can do. We have put down the thickest marley we can. Some of the ridges that were on the floor causing problems yesterday, they took up all the floor last night, and they should be smoother. The ridges are over on stage right, and there was where the elevator markings was. They've all tried to smooth them out underneath, so that those ridges are, I think, are better.
You're not, I know there were some concerns that people were maybe dancing on steel or metal. That is not the case. It may feel like that, but it is actually wood. It's albeit very hard wood that doesn't seem to have any absorbency whatsoever in it, or any give or move or take in it. So, I mean, the only thing we have done to ease the aching muscles, or to get you to mind yourselves a little bit more, is we've, I think, how many have we got? Several massage available, you know, so we'll have to just link in through the production office and try and get a schedule going that you mind yourselves. And I think if any of you feel that it's becoming personally difficult, come and talk to us and take time out. That's as much as we can do, because you've got to protect yourselves, you've got to mind yourselves. Okay?
One physio each.
Your own personal physios?
Who wants Fanny Mandelberger? Who's had Fanny? I mean,
Tonight's the night this sellout show aims to make its mark in New York. Already there's huge hype about it in the city. Today in shops I heard people talk about it in sensational terms.
Traditional Irish dancing is kicked up here with a modern spin. And the youthful dancers are exuberant, sexy, and terrific.
It really is Riverdance night here outside Radio City Music Hall. There is excitement in the air, and this place was filled with all kinds of people attending, including some very famous Irish Americans. You'll probably recognize many of these stars. Yes, that's actor Liam Neeson and wife Natasha Richardson arriving at this special opening at Radio City Music Hall tonight. And there's Chevy Chase and a contingent of the Kennedy clan led by Senator Edward Kennedy with his wife Victoria and sister Pat Loughlin. They're all here for the opening night and American premiere of the internationally acclaimed celebration of Irish music and dance called Riverdance.
How are you feeling?
All America is looking forward to it. This has taken Europe by storm. This brings a new creativity here to New York, and you can tell all around Riverdance is in the air.
I've never been to Radio City, so for us it's a very interesting experience, and we know we're going to enjoy the show.
If you see my child, won't you please send me a letter? I am waiting for my child to come home.
Certain cultures sometimes in the history of the planet tap into a consciousness, do you know what I mean? And it's Ireland's turn. It has been for the past 5-6 years, I think, you know? And it's part of that too, you know?
How significant is it that it's here in New York then?
Well, I mean, you know, the Irish invented New York.
It's going to just
blow them all away. This is going, as I said, this is going to run for centuries. This is the biggest thing ever to happen in New York for years. It's even bigger than Les Mis.
I had to! I couldn't breathe, it was stumbling. No.
Just wanted to make sure my shoes are there, and I'm here, and that's there. Oh, it's going to be great. They're there, and I just want to check that they're opened.
It's the zenith of everyone's career to want to perform in Radio City Music Hall in New York. So it's terrific to have been able to achieve that within the space of a year.
How do you feel tonight?
Rather emotional, rather drained actually. I mean, I think it's almost explosive, the atmosphere. I think people are so proud.
The best show I've ever seen in my entire life. Amazing, incredible, most wonderful, inspiring thing I've ever seen.
I've never seen anything like it, and I've been to a lot of Broadway shows.
Excellent show. Makes you want to dance.
Best show that Radio City Music Hall ever put on.
Brilliant. Totally brilliant.
God, us Irish know how to do it, don't we?